Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell, we are in the bathroom, or maybe you can't tell, that's my robe back there, but we're in the bathroom because I'm going to show you how I do my eyebrows. I feel like eyebrows have really evolved over the last 2015, 2016 until present day, and I don't do my eyebrows like I used to do them. I think I have my first eyebrow tutorial on this channel still up, so if I can find it, I will link it. But I don't do my eyebrows like that anymore. So I'm going to show you how I do them. Before we get into it, I'm going to tell you the products that I use and then also an honorable mention that I still use sometimes. So the only thing I use on my eyebrows are this Sephora angled brush with the spoolie on one end and then the angle brush on the other. And then I use the Anastasia brow powder duo. This is an Ebony. Now, I will say I bought this whenever I dyed my hair pitch black, like the blackest black that they have. My hair is very dark, but it's not, you know, pitch black. So if I was shopping again, I would probably get the dark brunette or the brunette one, whatever. I'll leave the one I'm talking about here. I would get that color instead of this color. Guys, I love this little brow powder. If you want your brows to look natural, you need to use a brow. If you have a lot of sparse areas in your brows to look natural, you need to use a brow powder, okay? If you have a lot of sparse areas, like a lot of bald areas in your brows, you need to use a brow powder. It's the most natural looking brow you can have is with the powder. Now, an honorable mention, one that I use sometimes, I just haven't used it very recently, is this Benefit Goof. This Benefit Goof Proof. This is like a tongue twister. This Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil in the shade 5. There is a shade darker than this. I use this shade number 5. I feel like shade 6 is too dark, but hey, do you boo boo. I know people love the shade 6. I don't like it. I think it's too dark. I don't use any type of brow gel normally. If I'm feeling like fancy, I will, but I don't normally use it. I'll show you one that I do have. Okay, guys, this is busted, but this is the Anastasia Dipbrow Gel, and it looks like this. Guys, I got this last year. I promise you that it's not like super old, but just like the writing wears off fairly easily. I would say this is good if you already have a lot of brows and you just kind of want it to look a little extra. You know how what lip gloss does for your lips? It doesn't change the color or anything. It just makes them look a little bit better. This is kind of what this does for your brow. I like my brows pretty natural. My brows have been waxed about 2 weeks ago, so they don't need to be waxed, and I'll like get close so you can see. I will also insert a picture here of how my brows normally grow because I feel like that's important too, so you can see what you're really working with. I kind of have this like weird unibrow type thing, but yeah, luckily God invented wax, so I can get my brows waxed. Sometimes I will tweeze just in the middle if I need to, or like underneath if I need to. I don't need to do that today, so I will not tweeze. And then sometimes I trim my own brows in between appointments. If they're getting a little long, I won't go crazy, but it's always good to have a little eyebrow trimmer, or I think this is even called a beard trimmer. You can use it interchangeably. Like if your man has a beard scissor thing, you can use that on your brows. They're basically the same thing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started into the video. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my spoolie and brush my eyebrow hairs in the direction I want them to go. As you can see, that one needs a little help. This part is really important. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my brow powder. As you can see, it's two-toned. I'm going to dip my brush in both of the sides to mix them. However, sometimes I do only use the lighter side. Just depends on my mood and how I want my brows to look. And I'm going to take that angled brush with the product on there and this is the most important part, guys. I'm going to make sure that line underneath my brows is as crisp and defined as possible. This is what is going to make your brows look good, making sure the line underneath is crisp and defined. So I take my time with that part, and then I go over the top of the brow, and I'm more or less doing the same thing. So now I am going to move on to filling in my actual brow. I'm using short brush strokes here, and I'm just really focusing it on the areas where my hair doesn't grow, where it looks a little bit more patchy. Right here is so important. So your brow hairs do not grow all in the same direction. So at the bottom of my brow, I trace the outline. At the top of the brow, I trace that outline again, but towards the end of your face, more towards your ear, your brows grow more and up. They grow in a horizontal direction. So I want to make sure that I'm following that direction with my brow pencil or brush. But towards the beginning of my brow, they grow more upward, more vertical. So when I move into the beginning of my brow, I want to make sure that I'm matching the direction of my hair growth. And that is what makes it really a more natural brow. And I'm stamping here because I don't want it to look too dark. So sometimes I take the brush and I just stamp at the beginning of my brow because it's gonna make it look more like hair grows there versus if I went in too heavy with too much product. And then the last step is just taking that spoolie again and blending everything out. This step is really important, especially if you think that you put too much product on your brows or if they're too dark. Blending it out really helps it look more cohesive and natural. So another thing I like to do whenever I haven't gotten my brows done in a very long time, I actually don't get them waxed very often, maybe like every 2 or 3 months, but I like to trace the bottom of my brow with some concealer that's 1 or 2 shades lighter than me, and then blend it out with a really small kabuki brush. This just further defines your brow and makes it look really clean. So that's it. I hope that tutorial was helpful. I honestly do not spend a lot of time on my brows like I used to. I used to do my brows first. I don't do my brows first anymore. I actually do them last, which is why this was actually really beneficial for me to film, because I basically just did my brows in the natural order that I would do them. I did my whole entire face first, and then I did my brows. So that's usually what I would do. So this is my tutorial. Let me know if this was helpful to you guys. These days I am liking a more natural brow, but I hope this was helpful to you guys. If you have any questions about the products that I mentioned or about any of the techniques that I use, please let me know in the comments below, and I cannot wait to chat with you again. Bye.